Notwithstanding the natural dangers of the Superstition Mountains, there appear to have been a large number of unnatural deaths in the superstitions in the last century. In 1891 Jacob Waltz, the Dutchman died, and the search began for his lost mine. In 1892, Charles Dobie became the last known death caused by an Apache in the superstitions. I stress the words last known because of the legend of the Black Legion, a secret group of militant Native Americans, which supposedly did and does protect the sacred burial grounds in the mountains. In 1896, the first reported beheading in the superstitions occurred. The victim was one Elisha M. Rivas, a hermit who lived on Iron Mountain. Rivas settled in the Superstition Mountains in 1872 and became known as the Madman of the Superstitions. Rivas convinced the Indians in the area that he was crazy by hooting and running naked through the canyons with guns and knives. On May 6, 1896, James DeLabaugh found the decapitated and decomposed remains of Elisha Rivas. In 1910, the skeleton of an unknown woman was found in a cave high in the Superstition Mountains. Several gold nuggets were found next to the remains. In 1927, rocks began to roll down on a New Jersey man and his sons hiking in the mountains. One of the boys had his leg crushed. The party was convinced that someone had pushed the boulders on them from the cliffs above. A year later, two hunters experienced a similar episode. Boulders appeared to have been pushed by someone intent on crushing them. In 1931 Adolph Ruth came to the Superstition Mountains to look for the lost Dutchman's mine. Ruth was talkative. He showed a map to any and all who were interested, and talked authoritatively about how he was about to find the Dutchman's mine. Ruth hired guides and horses and was packed into the mountains around June 14 by two cowboys. He set up camp at Willow Springs in West Boulder Canyon. This was the last time anyone saw Adolph Ruth alive. In December, a skull with two holes in it was discovered near the Three Red Hills by an archaeological expedition. It was the skull of Adolph Ruth. Sensational stories alleged that Ruth had been killed for his map. In 1937, prospector Guy Hematite Frank came down from the mountains with a number of rich gold samples. In 1938, he was found shot to death on a trail in the mountains. A small sack of gold ore was found near his body. In 1948 treasure hunter James Cravey made a widely publicized trip into the superstitions by helicopter, which set him down in La Barge Canyon, close to Weaver's Needle. Here Cravey set up camp, having brought with him 10 days' worth of water and provisions. On day 10, the helicopter returned to pick up Cravey, but he was nowhere to be found. The camp was intact and only 2 days' worth of food had been eaten. An unsuccessful search was launched. It was not until the following February that Cravey's remains were discovered. His headless skeleton was found in a canyon, far from his camp. The skeleton was tied in a blanket. Cravey's skull was found 30 feet away. No one knows who killed James Cravey or why he was beheaded. In 1951 the body of Dr. John Burns of Oregon was found in the superstitions. Burns had been shot by a sniper from some distance away. In 1952 Joseph Kelly of Dayton, Ohio, went in search of lost gold and disappeared. 2 years later, Kelly's body was found near Weaver's Needle. Kelly had been shot in the head. Two California boys named Ross Blay and Charles Harshbarger also disappeared in the superstitions that year. Their bodies were never found. In 1955 Charles Massey was found dead, having been shot between the eyes with a heavy caliber bullet. In 1956 Martin Ziwoto, a native of New York, was found dead with a bullet hole in his right temple. In 1959 Benjamin Ferreira argued with and killed his friend and partner Stanley Hernandez after they discovered what they thought was gold. The find was actually pyrite, fool's gold. Ferreira to state prison for the slaying, ruefully noting at his trial, "Men go mad seeking lost Dutchman gold." The same drumbeat continues, decade after decade. Long-time prospector El Moro is killed by a mysterious boulder that falls on him. Charles Lewing shoots Ladislas Guerrero in self-defense after they squabble about gold. Howard Poling is killed by gunshot by person or persons unknown. Dennis Brown dies of a gunshot wound. Manuel Valdez is murdered. The skeleton of Rick Fenning is discovered. Truly, men go mad seeking the lost Dutchman's gold.